What you're about to watch is a clip from my BrandLytics training where I get together with entrepreneurs, thought leaders who want to build their brand using YouTube and making data-driven decisions to blow up their brand this year. Enjoy.
So, for those who don't know, I'm running the show today. Let me give you a little bit of background on me. My name is Drew Hitchcock. I am in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm a part of the Evan Carmichael team. And I don't think that we've ever really deep dived into the split testing process. So I kind of wanted to give you guys some perspective on how I think through this process, as well as kind of how Evan talks or thinks through this process. So how many people have logged into their back end and found this lovely little picture of their last video and it showing up as 10 out of 10? Nobody?
Mine's usually like 7 or 8.
Okay, well, I know whenever I see this, I get super frustrated. But at the same time, it also creates a very interesting opportunity for us, because now this is something that we can go back on the back end and actually fix, because we have the ability to test, which is great. And the reason why this is important is because at the end of the day, if we can get these underperforming videos to perform better over time, we can actually really move the needle for our channels in a way that most people just don't realize. So I wanted to show a quick example. This is one of the channels that I manage. I've been working with them for 2.5, almost 3 years now. And when this video first released, we got a whopping 109 views. Now, at the time, this channel was, I'm pretty sure, somewhere in the around the 5,000 subscriber mark range, just to give you some relative scale. And this particular video, we were actually super hyped for this video, because this was a very well-produced interview between the client that I work with and Robert Kiyosaki. And we were super excited to see how this video would perform. And when we released it, we were a little disappointed. I believe this one was, to Terry's comment, in the 7 to 8 out of 10 range. And we were a little kind of scratching our heads, what in the world went wrong? And sure enough, we started running some tests on this, just because, it's like when a video that we are very confident is going to perform well doesn't perform well, those are the prime opportunities to go in and actually test. So around, we gave it about a month just to let the subscribers kind of see the video and make sure that we were looking at a cold audience. We started testing toward the end of August, and then ultimately we rolled into a couple weeks into September, and our testing had started to complete, and we noticed an uptick in the overall viewership. And as you can see kind of how things progressed, this video actually started to perform extremely well. We were averaging around, at the peak, around just under 6,000 views a day, and we were adding on an extra 100 subscribers. So for a channel that is, in the 5,000 subscriber range, to go from basically averaging 10 to 15 subscribers a day to over 100 subscribers, that's a big win. Evan has also had an experience where he's done thumbnail refreshes on his videos, where all of a sudden, just as a function of going back to some of the older videos and refreshing some of the thumbnails, he's been able to get some of his videos to go from just a couple hundred views a day to over 15,000 views a day. This was actually, for those of you who are unaware, this came from a one-pager that YouTube actually put together, and I believe he's got it on his BrandLytics sales page, that walks through which video he ran this test on, and ultimately which video started to perform pretty well. I believe it was one of his top 10 on Oprah. So lots of really good opportunities with testing, and I just kind of wanted to show you the power that by going back and looking at your older videos, you have a clear opportunity to really move the needle for your channel. And the beautiful thing about it is at the end of the day, these are videos you don't have to make a new video in order to get this kind of result. You can go back and make some minor tweaks to older videos and start to see those videos perform over time and really move the needle for your channel. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about thumbnail best practices. We're all familiar with the thought leadership layout. I'm pretty sure Evan harps this. Anytime he talks about thumbnails, it's all about the format. How do we replicate the big thought leaders in the space, and how do we make our videos stand out and really drive home like what it is somebody's going to ultimately get with that video. He has kind of, after all the tests that he's run, I think he's over 10,000 tests across his, and even in the tests that I've run for my clients, I think I'm in the mere 2,000 or 3,000 tests. This format, time and time again, continues to perform and leverage this format, because at the end of the day, it simplifies everything that you're doing and gives you the ability to then create systems around your thumbnail process, such that this is an area where you can start to outsource this activity when your channel is big enough and you're starting to move in the direction of testing at scale. So the next thing that he talks about very specifically is having high saturation in your videos. I was trying to think of how to best represent this, and I went ahead and took one of his thumbnails and actually took the saturation out of the thumbnail. You can actually, in Photoshop, you can go and there's a slider where you can take the saturation down. Would you click on that video? Like, who's going to click on that video? Nobody's going to click on that video. So make sure that you're using colors with high saturation, and this is very common practice in website design, when you're really trying to like create a stark difference and be very clear as to what it is that the call to action that you're trying to create for somebody. At the end of the day, we're trying to have your video stand out. We want to have some level of branding so that people recognize, like, this is a Evan Carmichael video, or this is a Lewis Howes video, or a Terry Thompson video. We want people to recognize and start to get a feel for what your videos look like, but we also want to create clickability through the saturation. And honestly, if you feel like you've gone hard enough with the saturation and you're not getting the results that you're looking for, try changing the color. Sometimes shifting the color a little bit can really move the needle and eke out an extra couple of percentage points on your tests. So at the end of the day, as we get into the testing, you want to try different things, and we'll go through a little bit of what that looks like in the process. The next thing is to think about who your audience is and where they're watching. A lot of times when we're designing thumbnails, we are in Photoshop, full scale resolution on a 20 plus inch monitor, and where everything looks great. But when you shrink it down, the questions that I ask myself is, if there's a face in the video, can I identify who that person is? If you're dealing with interviews where you're talking with people of note, we want to make sure that it's very clear who's that video going to be about. Or if you're the main focal of your channel, making sure that people recognize you as on that thumbnail. A lot of times people will do the basically from the waist to the head as their what's on the right hand side of the photo. What we have found in all of our testing is when you zoom in on the face, that gets the best result from a click-through rate perspective. So you want to make sure that, I've seen it done both ways, where you've got like super polished pictures as well as screen caps from the video itself. I think there's times when you can go either way, but at least in our tests, what we have found is that the screen caps actually perform better rather than if you have like the same thumbnail or the same pictures that you're using over and over again. Over time, those will start to, from a click-through rate perspective, they'll start to decay, and they'll be less clickable because people think that it's a similar video to what was previously released.
If you want to see this full video as well as train live with me twice a month to blow up your brand, join the BrandLytics training program. There's a link to join right there next to me. Continue to believe. I'll see you there.